What up, guys? We have Mr. Bobby Walker here tonight. And so, I don't know if everybody got to see the good thumbnail that I made of Bobby Walker. I don't even think he's
Uh-oh.
gotten to see it yet.
No, I gotta
And
go look.
it is an amazing thumbnail. And yes, if somebody like this with a little poodle can make what he has done, so can you. And so,
I gotta
so,
go find it.
but
I got
so
That's awesome. I love it. I gotta show my wife. That's funny. Too funny. Too funny.
so I was like, let's have a good night and have fun with it. So I want to talk a little bit about the hard things and how we overcome the hard things. I grew my business to $1 million. Bobby grew it to almost 700,000 last year. He's going to do it over 1 million this year. I have faith in him. And we both have a lot of hard things. And so that's what I want to talk about. But I also want to talk about the rewards of what we can get from doing the hard things. And, Bobby always talks about the little things, and the little things make big things, and little hard things can either make us or break us. And there's two things that I really want to focus on is time freedom and financial freedom. First off, let's go down the road of time freedom. And I've been a bad person about this lately, and I'm actually going to start something new here coming this week is tracking my hours, telling my hours where I need to work at. And I know you've done this for a while, but through either a planner, stuff like that, because, we only get 168 hours a week. That's all we get. And so you can either be lazy and do nothing, or we can time out our time. And so, Bobby, how has time helped you to make sure that you get stuff done?
Well, excuse me. Let me cough rudely into the mic.
All right, he's probably got the COVID, so
Yeah. Excuse me. Well, if I'm understanding the question right, are you referring to like basically managing or like planning my time? Is that what you're getting at? So before I answer, let me say this: I'm not consistent. I have spurts where I do a great job at this, and then I have spurts where I'm a lazy bitch. And sorry, we're on your channel. I need to watch the language tonight. But but then I have spurts when I'm not as disciplined. But what I do, and I actually left it at my office. I just left the office a little bit ago, but it's sitting on my desk. But I've got a planner. It's called the Full Focus Planner, and it revolves around this philosophy. There's a book called the 12-Week Year. And essentially, it's just saying, hey, instead of looking at your life a year at a time, let's look at it a quarter at a time. And so what I've done is, and then from that quarter, you break it into weeks. And then from the weeks, you break it into days. So what I've done is every day, or every week, I should say, I have what we call my big three things I need to get done this week. Those three things need to point towards my quarterly goals, which is usually going to be about 8 of them. And then every day I have a big three that points towards the big three for the week. So what that does, and 3 may not sound like a lot, but, imagine if you achieved 3 important things every week. And so at that point, go easy on Jason's ears with the language. But at that point, I write down my big 3. I write down my other tasks. And not only does that help me keep focused, I do it on paper on purpose because I'm a digital kind of guy, but I do it on paper. So that way it's kind of outside of my normal life. And as a result, at the end of the day, just keep it short. I'm a lot more efficient doing that.
And that is what I'm finding myself is when I can put down and make tasks and break it down, I can accomplish that. And this is one way we can get over the hard things. This is something that we can get past the hard things, because honestly, this thing right here can be the worst thing for us. Because what I want you to do is go into your settings and see how long you're on Facebook, how long you're on all the other stuff that you're on, that just a time suck that you literally get nothing done at the end of the day. So those are some things that, I wanted to hit on. Also, so time is very valuable. We only get so much of it in a day. We don't get a lot
I think it's the
of it.
most valuable thing we have, right?
Exactly.
Right.
And what people don't realize is how valuable is time, because you might value your time, you might not think your time is very valuable, but our customers' times may be very valuable. They want to go to their kids' soccer games, they want to go do all this. And there's no amount of money that they're not willing to pay so that they can have that time. And
Yeah.
guess what? That's where we come in as a pressure washing business. And as our good friend, both of our friend Kurt Kempton, is he always says, we are a customer service business that just so happens to be doing pressure washing.
Yeah.
And that's exactly right, right?
Yeah.
So, Bobby is a man magnet. I don't know why Wild West says that, but
Oh, I'll tell the quick story if you want, because I was just on a stream earlier today, and we were talking about the huge convention, and Sid Graff, a buddy of mine, who was the MC of the event. I don't know why, but he gave me a gift, and I think you've seen this, Jason. But he, at the convention, he gave me this metallic gold fanny pack, and it had rainbow suspenders, and then it had a beer holder on the front of the fanny pack. So he gave it to me at the convention. This was in Branson, Missouri, 2 years ago, and or a year and a half ago, or whatever. And I thought, ironically, I had a Mickey Mouse tank top in my room. So I put on my Mickey Mouse tank top. I put on the rainbow suspenders and the fanny pack, and we went out to do the nightlife thing. And I can see why, but well, dude, if I was a gay dude, I'd hit on me. I'm a pretty damn good looking guy, but I got hit on that night, and I don't know, it was a funny story. So
that is that is a good story. And I'm actually reading a book right now. It's by Frank Kern, and he was talking about and a lot of people, and I know this can be, especially if you're religious, the gay people and that kind of thing. But what people don't realize is how much money that gay people have. One thing that gay people, and it's not nothing, I'm not saying this in a bad thing. I'm saying it as these people, a lot of times we don't look at them as our customers because whatever reason we're stupid, whatever religious reasons, whatever not. But what he was saying is most gay couples make more money than average. Over 40% of them make over $100,000 a year. And they don't have one thing that me and you have that is a money suck. And can you name what that is?
a wife,
No, they have that. But what does a wife produce?
a baby, a kid,
A
yeah.
baby, kids, exactly. And how much money do you spend on that?
Uh, I don't even want to talk about that right now, just to be quite honest with you.
But these are some things that we got to look at. And I know I just went down a rabbit hole, but that's all right. That's what tonight's about. So hitting rabbit holes.
Yeah.
So so you and your son started the business. Did you ever ride the truck, or did you just always never on the truck?
Yeah, no, I did. So I was on the truck for 13 months. So it took, in hindsight, I think I could get off much, much, much quicker, but it took me 13 months to get off the truck.
And so how was hiring your first employee?
Um, so it was terrifying because it was the first time I'd ever hired someone for my business, but the process wasn't difficult because I knew what to do, but but it was really scary because when I would hire for the company I managed for back in the day, I wasn't scared because I wasn't the guy that had to provide for them. I had this big corporation, and the money was going to be there every week no matter what, and I'd be able to pay them no matter what. So getting over that fear hump, can I provide for a person and take care of their family and all that stuff? Once I got over that, the hiring process itself isn't difficult, but even since I hired that first guy, actually with that guy, I had already developed the process that I have in place right now. We've gotten a little better at it, and I'm happy to talk about that as well. But
yeah, let's go down that. What have you learned how to hire good employees versus okay employees? And is it better to hire an employee that already knows the job or somebody that is willing to learn?
Okay, there's two questions there. Let me just answer it this way. I did a lot of hiring in my corporate career, back there, I had almost 70 people that worked under me. Okay, so about 65 people. I did a lot of hiring, and I did a lot of bad hiring. I did a really bad job at it. And what I kind of finally realized is I've got to stop looking for people that are capable of doing the job. I mean, of course, they need to be capable, right? But it was like, oh, you're capable of doing it. You don't look like a mass murderer. You're hired. That was pretty much how we did it. What I look at today is I try to front load in the job application and then in a real brief phone call before we ever do an interview or anything, about a 3-minute phone call. I try to front load the can you do this job stuff, so that way we can get that out of the way. And what I really focus on is character, integrity, drive, things like that. So, like for instance, when we hire a technician today, we're going to do a 1-hour interview with a technician, and that's more time than I'd spent with salespeople in my previous gig. But in an hour's time, if you can strategically come with questions to ask that are going to help you, determine those things, their character, their integrity, their drive. If they can hit the mark on those things, we can train a monkey how to pressure wash or how to clean windows or how to hang Christmas lights or whatever. That's the easy part. It's finding the guys that show up every time. Like I see people on my Facebook feed all the time, that people that have been in the industry for over a decade, and they're like, well, 3 guys called out today. Well, I could have one Monday when everyone showed up. Oh my God, no one will come to work. And I'm like, man, now granted, my business, I'll say this, I'll go in the last 24 months, not just in the last 12, but I bet you in the last 24 months, I've had 7 call outs, maybe. I mean, it just doesn't happen because I made sure, because I worked really hard to find the right people. And not every one of them are perfect. You still make bad hires, but focusing on who they are as a person, how they're driven, do they have a victim mentality? Are they a bitch? Sorry. Gosh dang it. This is your channel. Are they a victim? Work on those things. The rest of it's the easy part.
Well, I think somebody is calling it. No, I don't know why your video is like blurry, but it's kind of funky on my side.
Yeah,
And
it is. I can see that too. Is the audio okay?
audio is fine. It's just
Okay.
the video, so you will just
Yeah,
have to live
sorry
with
about
that.
that.
But that is good because hiring employees is very hard. So let me ask you this: would you hire a office person first or a technician first if you were
Ooh.
looking for like someone to do the office manager stuff, or would you rather hire a technician first?
There's not. I don't think there's a blanket answer for this. I think it kind of comes down to your desires or goals and your strengths and weaknesses. So, if it were me, I don't like doing either one of those jobs, but I'd personally rather be in the office than cleaning all the time because I don't want to do that stuff anymore. Now I still hate the office work. I just don't maybe hate it as bad as the other stuff. But I think what people need to look at is, well, a combination of what you want, but also where your strengths and weaknesses are. So if your strength is in the field, but you're not great at sales and you're not great on the phone and maybe you're an introvert, you probably need to hire that office manager first. Delegate those tasks to that person and let them handle it. If you're the flip side, if you're not someone that likes it in the field, or that's not your strong suit, or maybe you're getting up there in age and you can't justify being out there in the heat all the time, hire that technician first. And then also insert a sales rep. So there's kind of like 3 kind of places that you can kind of go there, and you got to pick the one that's going to fit your needs and
And
strengths the best.
and don't think that you're always the best at everything because you're not. You're not going to be good at everything. That's just part of what it is. I had technicians that, I mean, I do good, and he could run circles around me on getting the house done faster than I could and being good at it. You
Mhm.
know, and he did it correctly. What is it the way I would do it? Well, no, but it was done correctly and it was done the way it needed to be done. You know, and well, I've heard people, the best salesman is you, and I agree to that to a point. But on the other hand, most of this stuff is not rocket science. Call in, what size your house? Okay, they can look it up. Same thing you're going to do. Oh, it's going to be this size here. You can get a script. And if you don't have a script, get a script of what to say. Bobby's got some stuff that he talks really good about that script. I would recommend his script very much. I've heard it 2 or 3 times at some of the trainings I've done. And that is what I would tell you to do, because the reason why you want to do that for is, you know, you want to be able to, especially if you want to grow and scale. If you want to be a one-man band, then you're going to be a one-man band. Now,
Mhm.
there's some pluses to it and there's some minuses to it. You know, a one-man band can be more profitable and do more work, but if you get hurt, you're screwed. You know, if you
Yeah, there's
want to,
strengths and weaknesses. There are pluses and minuses. Also, one man band, you can't make any more money than you can make.
right.
That's another problem. Where if you scale, you make less money for a little bit, but you can actually, make a lot more, by growing.
So how can they get a script? Somebody asked the
Um,
question.
Tell you what, I'll share some stuff with you guys here. I can't give like the whole thing because I literally someone just paid $900, $877 to buy my course that has all that stuff in there. But I can definitely share some stuff. Now, we're talking about the sales script. Is that
Yeah.
specifically what we're looking at?
Yep.
So let me maybe, instead of just tell you what the script is, tell you kind of what you want to do. Okay. What you want to do. We have in my business, and I wish I could had a folder to show you, but we have in my business what we call a pre-objection sales presentation. Okay. What I mean by that, the way I was trained, like when I was in security, is I would show up, shake hands, kiss babies, look through the house, figure out what we need to put everywhere, and then come back, sit down with the customer, and then begin the sales process, the presentation, and all that stuff. What did my internet drop out? Can you
No,
still?
no, you're fine. You're fine.
So what we do is we just kind of flip that. Okay. So what we do is when we show up to someone's home, we do the sales presentation first, and then we walk around the house, put the quote together, and come back and present the price. Now, the reason we do that is that allows me in my sales presentation to overcome the objections that we most commonly face. So for me, we talk about, the customer gets a great experience because we've got good people. The customer gets, they're protected. So they're protected because of our insurance. So we got good people, and they get protection. And then their property is going to be safe because we use the right process. And then the last one is proof. You don't have to take my word for it. Go look at our almost 700 Google reviews, right? So that's kind of like in a nutshell what I'm going to go through in my sales presentation. But that's real strategic, those 4 things, because it's going to overcome like the price thing. We come up, we have the nice glossy, expensive folders and a nice presentation. And when we talk about our employees and our insurance and our reviews and our processes, when they say, well, man, you're twice as much as the other guy, I'm like, yeah, I am. But the other guy can't give you all this stuff that I give you, especially the proof. So when you're doing your sales presentation, you always want to make sure that you're trying. You can talk too much, and that's kind of comical coming from me. But when I'm in the sales mode, I know I can shut up. So you want to only share what's really necessary to achieve your goal. You want to share things that are going to overcome their objections, and you want to share things from the perspective of what you get. They don't want to sit here and listen to you talk for an hour about how awesome I am. So like for us, we'll say, well, here at TRT, we actually say we hire people based on attitude and character, and we train the skill. So that way we don't have any bad, luggage from other people that are in the industry. So we hire people without experience on purpose based on attitude and character, and we train their skill. So we have great people. So you are going to get a great experience when they're here working around your family and blah, 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 blah. So they're getting a great experience because of people. And then one more just small example is let's talk about proof. Mr. Jones, we've got 600 Google reviews, something like that. So if you choose our company, you get proof that you're choosing the right one because you don't have to take my word for it. So you have confidence in what you're doing. So you want to make sure that you're telling them what they're getting, not who you are, strategically, and then overcome those objections with them. That's the ultimate goal.
And then you don't have to worry about competitors, right?
Uh, Kind of, yeah. You know what? There's some good competitors out there because, like my closing percentage, last I checked, it was about 44%. That's okay. The I need the $99 guy to do the jobs that I don't want to waste my time going to do anyway. So, I kind of like my competitors because they help me out. They take care of the stuff that we don't want to do. And the customers that are looking for a company like ours, we land them and they pay good money and we're good.
I was watching something the other day, and it was showing a Pepsi machine and how many cans of Pepsi you can sell if it was by itself, and it was like 100 cans. And then it showed if you put a Coke machine right next to it, how many Coke do you think it would sell and Pepsi would sell by just putting a Coke machine next to it?
Well, because you're asking me, I'm going to assume a lot more, but I probably would have never thought of that. That probably would have never dawned on me.
So if you put a Coke machine right next to the Pepsi machine, they'll both sell 200 versus the 100 of one. And the reason why it is behind that is it's, do I want soda or not? Or do I want Coke or Pepsi? And
Well,
and that
that's a
kind of goes
good.
back to the whole competitor thing.
Well, and another good thing on that, if if I get too off track, just drag me back in, Jason. But that's another reason you want to offer packages when you sell, or bundles, or however you want to whatever you want to call them. I know you talk about this on your channel, but when the magic number is three. You could do four. If you did six or five, that's just too many. But the magic number is three. That if you present three packages to a customer, your closing percentage is going to be better, or you're going to sell more Cokes, if you will, for that exact reason. Before it was, do I want to use this guy or not? Now it's, which one of these things do I want to do? So giving them those packages, they've done studies on this. There's a psychological thing that happens in our mind. And now not as many people feel like they need to get that other quote because your packages validate the other options. Your three options validate each other and you're going to close more.
Well, and two, they feel like they've getting three quotes at that point too, instead of just
Mm-hmm.
not one at this point. And I agree 100% on packages is definitely the way you want to go to be able to get a higher ticket because, at the end of the day, if they call us and say we want a house wash and we sell them a $300 house wash, well, whoop-de-doo, What if I sell them an exterior window cleaning and a driveway cleaning, and now we just turn that $300 house wash into a $700, you
Yeah.
know, 2 3 hour job and made a lot more money that way. So those are definitely some things that we want to look at. And and don't be afraid to price it to don't think you got to give this big discount when you do that. There's people out there that are going to pick the middle package every time because they're too good to pick the low end. And then you got some people that are always going to pick the highest price no matter what because they're too good to do the other two. So,
I'm that sucker. Just me personally as a consumer, I tend to go with like the higher option because I'm like, well, shit. And it's not because I'm too good to buy those stuff. It's like FOMO. Well, I would have been happy with package A if you wouldn't have told me about B and C. You know what I mean? But it's like, well, if I don't get C, I, I don't get all, and that's just kind of, it's probably why I'm broke all the time.
and
I it all goes out too.
and the funny part being in sales, we know that they're doing it to us.
I know. I can't help it.
But that's so true of making sure that we do packages. If you're not doing packages, you're leaving money on the table, and don't be afraid of the hardest thing that I know I see with the people dealing with packages is when they see that $800-900 package and they think, I would never pay that much. You're daggone right. You would never pay that much because that is not your customer. You are not your customer. So, you got to make sure that you are charging enough so that way you can grow your business. Because at the end of the day, we want to be a business. We don't want to be a not for profit business. We want to be a profitable business at the end of the day.
Hey, Jason, someone, it's funny, Jeremy Olson, I don't know why he said this, but it reminded me of something I wanted to say a second ago. Mr. Apple Walker, and I don't know why, but please and thank you. My wife is getting me some coffee because she's awesome. But when we were talking about sales a second ago, and I was talking about like you can say too much or so on and so forth. The analogy I always like to use is Apple versus Android. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it doesn't matter which one's better. Who cares? Who cares? I like this one better. That's why I buy it. You like yours better. That's why you buy it. But what does matter is which one sells the most. And as a model, iPhones sell more than anything. Now, there may be more Android phones, but there's a million of them out there, right? Different options. But what did Apple do that kicked the crap out of Android like early into their marketing? Android would put a commercial out there that would say, our newest phone has this many megahertz and this many dots per inch on the screen and this many whatever's a memory and blah, 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 blah. And Apple would do a commercial and they'd show an image of their phone right next to a grown woman learning how to play the violin and the phone's teaching them. And then they would show another video of a guy in the kitchen and it's teaching someone how to cook, and so on and so forth. So Apple said, here's what you get. Here's your solution, where Android was saying, this is what we do. Now, Android had better specs. They had better equipment, but Apple won because they sold what you get. They sold your solution or your problem.
And that goes even to our own marketing. I see a lot of times we want to sell that we do soft wash and we use low pressure and blah blah blah. All we want to do is hit all these points that these people don't give two rats about. What do they want? They have a problem and you need to have the solution. And is the solution all this stuff of what you're doing? Well, no, that's not the solution. The solution is hey, I got 700 other people that are loving me and say that I'm amazing, and I don't even have to say it. I can just show a picture of that because they've already seen that picture when they're trying to find me, because that's how that threw that up way up. Man, this guy must be good. So do I need to sit there and hammer that? No, we can hit the features of what they want and their pain points, but at the end of the day, and that is so true with Apple, and they still do it today. They don't go saying, look at all my features and all this other stuff. They don't. They know that people are going to buy it over and over and over, and that's what they're going to hammer down. They knew, one of the things that he didn't like was buttons. He didn't wear buttons on his shirt. He didn't wear buttons anywhere because he didn't like buttons. That's why the old phone don't have buttons on it. So, that was a personal thing. But do you know that he didn't like buttons and that? Well, no, they could have been like, we don't have no buttons. No, they didn't push that. What they push? How much you will have fun on this thing and how much this damn thing's going to suck all the time out of your 168 hours a week.
Yeah. It's the truth. It's solving problems.
Yep.
It's solving problems. So we'll just one last comment is when you're talking to your customer, mention something like, we have the proper equipment and training to get the job done right, but leave it at that. They don't give a crap about your 20 gallon per minute booster pump that can bleach over the roof. They don't give a crap about a reclaim system or any of that stuff. Now, those things are important and you need them, but the customer doesn't care. The customer has a problem and they want to find someone that solves it.
Yep. So getting back to the thing of doing hard things, what is some things that have helped you overcome hard things?
Well, that's a big question. So stepping back, let's hammer on one thing we talked about a little earlier on the hiring thing, because this is actually huge. And everyone that's on here, what the hell is Al talking about? Let's get back to
he's probably drunk. He's Al. He's being Al.
Okay. I'm not a pressure washing guy, Al. Sorry. I like growing businesses instead. the uh, the hiring thing. When I switched my way of thinking to hiring on attitude and character, drive. When I started focusing on those things, doing extended interviews, doing my diligence on calling references and stuff like that, that made a huge, huge impact for me just as a business owner and as a manager. Um, I don't dread hiring anymore. It's not like my favorite thing to do. It's still work, but I don't dread it because this process has really, really helped me get good people. So that's the first thing that I've done that's helped me, get over the hard things. Because frankly, the two hardest things in business is getting sales and getting good people. That's the two. If you can conquer those two things, the other stuff's easy. The other stuff is
So,
super
how
easy.
did you learn how to hire somebody?
Well, you know what? I paid for education. I paid someone. I don't know, 500-600 bucks, and learned how to do it that way.
So,
And,
let's
and
talk about that a little bit. How much have you paid in education to grow your business to get it to where it is over the years, between
well,
books and all the things that you've done?
we say over the last 4 years, because we've been in business 4 years now. Um, I don't know for sure, but I'm going to say north of 20K probably.
So you've spent $20,000 just for you. Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, there's some money in there that, like, Caleb went with me to a thing, or I bought a thing for him too. But yeah, I'd say absolutely. Yeah.
Now, are you still doing training and learning different things, or you done did that and you're good to go?
Now I'm good to go. Dude, I as recent as November. It may have been October, but I spent $1,000 on a course for marketing. It had nothing to do with pressure washing and stuff. It was just a marketing course. I paid $1,000 for it just so I could, listen to a guy talk on a boring thing and learn how to learn some marketing stuff.
And you still go to BBB? What's BBB again?
Yeah, yeah. So BBB, which is something that you and I are involved in together, business, bourbon, and BS here on the Pressure Wash Help channel here, business, bourbon, and BS. It's a quarterly mastermind group. So that one, in my opinion, is kind of cheap. I go 4 times a year. I spend, well, not including food, I'll spend 800, well, with food and everything, $1,000, to go to the event. So I go to it 4 times a year, and I get there's guys like you there. We'll have about 30 people at this thing, and at that one, we're really workshopping our quarter. I talked about doing things a quarter at a time. So I do BBB. I go to conventions. Now it's kind of funny because I'm going to say I go to conventions, but I also participate in conventions. So I like to speak and stuff. But even if I wasn't doing that, I go to the conventions to learn myself as well. Responsive Con. I'm actually speaking at the an event next week, and then the huge convention and all that good stuff. Which I want to talk about that too here in a little bit. So
Yeah. So I've been, and I did the same thing. And it's not just about going to pressure washing stuff or doing just pressure washing stuff either. I've been to several other things, just like Bobby was saying about marketing, of $1,000 course. I've went to SEO courses. I went to AdWord courses. I flew out to San Diego and spent about 3 grand or 4 just to learn different marketing stuff from I forget the name of it now, but it was a bunch of people there, and it didn't have nothing to do with pressure washers. And
yep.
so that is definitely something that I do to my now, and I still pay people. I still do stuff. I still want to learn to get to the next level, because you know what I've learned about when I pay for something and do it, I actually learn it and I do it. And don't get me wrong, I give out all the free stuff out here on YouTube. And if you can take that information in there, you can go and grow a business. Between me, Bobby, and some of the other gurus out there, you can learn everything you need to know at the end of the day.
Don't call me a guru. Oh my god, I'm so sick of everyone bitching about the the YouTube gurus, and I'm like, leave me out of that crap. None of you guys like me anyway. None of the other gurus like me, so I shouldn't be in their camp.
But talking about that, there's plenty of information out there that have good information. There's a bunch of people out there that do have good information. So I want to talk a little bit about I want to talk a little bit about what's coming up. I have a course. I got my training coming up in February. I've only got 3 spots left because I'm going to shut it off at 15 because it's going to be a big class. For the pressure washing, pressure or the Christmas light and gutter cleaning class will still be open. I have another course in a class that I will be doing with a friend of ours, mine and Bobby's, up in Fredericksburg, Virginia. And that'll be the 26th of March.
That's another BBB guy.
And he's another BBB guy. His goal is $1.4 million this year. I'm actually going to go up and help him make sure he has his systems and processes down so he can hire and it's a smooth thing to go. And so that will be, that's what I'm going to do. And I will have some more hands-on training. Now, when I do my trainings, you get hands-on training. Now, I have been to the huge and other conventions in the pressure washing world, several of them, and I like them, and it's great networking and everything along that. And so let's talk a little bit about that right now, if you want to.
Yeah. So let me take a drink here. Hold on just a second. Okay. So the huge convention, I'm curious real quick if you guys throw a comment in the chat with a yes or a no. Have you heard of the huge convention before? I'd like to kind of see what you guys think of. But Al, the BBB is a cult, and we will not let you in it. So sorry, go get your own Kool-Aid. The huge convention is frankly it's the biggest event in the industry. So for pressure washing and window cleaning, there's 2 guys, Thad Eckhoff, Chris Lambrinides. They started it. It was either 9 or 10 years ago. I can't remember. Excuse me. And they've just done a phenomenal job. I went to my first huge convention in 2017, the year we started our business. It was in New Orleans. Caleb and I went and just had we had a lot of fun. But we learned a lot. We learned a lot of things that we implemented. We learned stuff there that on the drive home from New Orleans, we implemented that started us on the path to getting the Google reviews that we now have. We've gotten better at it since then, but things like that. And the convention revolves around business development, business growth. So you don't go there and learn how to pressure wash. You don't go there and learn how to window clean. You go there and you learn how to do marketing. You learn how to do sales. You learn how to build, hire employees or build a great company culture. There'll be probably bookkeeping things there. There's all of these things that go on that are necessities to learn for our business. So it's an awesome thing. It's literally called the Huge Convention. And actually, someone's asking, you wanted to go last year, but it was canceled. I'll even talk about that here in a second. But here's the cool thing, and this is why I wanted to talk about it, is Chris and Thad, they're both ready to go do their own things. They're both ready to move on. Chris owns Window Cleaning Resource. I think it's the largest window cleaning supplier in the country, I believe. Thad, I think, is kind of taking things easy and just kind of starting to chill in life. I think he's done decent with his money. So they sold the convention, and there's a group of us. Actually, every one of us are in BBB. Maybe this thing is a cult. I don't know. But about a bunch of us in BBB, there were 6 of us, got together and bought the convention. So we're actually really, really excited about it. I'm doing the most speaking about it, but I also have the smallest. I bought the least of all 6, but I wish I could have bought more. But I'm about to buy a house here, so I needed to hold on to some of my cash. But we bought the convention. It's happening this year in August. It's August 19th and 20th in Atlanta, Georgia. And there's nothing cooler than getting around 1,500, 2,000 other people that are trying to achieve the same things that you're trying to achieve, trying to change their lives, build their dreams, change their family tree, all of those amazing things that these goals that we have. And you're there with all of these people. So not only is there great value in the classes and everything, arguably there's even more value in the networking that you get while you're there, hanging out with people and so on and so forth. So so right now, tickets are on sale for early bird pricing. You can go to thehugeconvention.com. All right. Thehugeconvention.com and get early bird pricing. Early bird pricing goes through the end of Valentine's Day. So on the 14th. And here's the cool thing is last year, this was before we bought it, but last year, a lot of people got a little frustrated. You heard it here first. Bobby's got the smallest. uh, what do you do? Yeah, well, you can't win them all, guys. You can't win them all. So anyway, back on track. Gosh, I don't remember what I was saying now. After I was just sexually assaulted by a Wild West here. What I was going to say is last year the convention got canceled because of COVID. And they went to a virtual event, and they didn't do a very good job with that. And I'm not slamming them. It was just, it was
COVID.
crazy. Yeah. I mean, things happen. A lot of people got upset because some people didn't get refunds and blah, 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 blah. One thing that we've done to combat that, and also just the fear that, the new administration could potentially shut things down again. So if you buy your ticket to the huge convention and it gets canceled, if we can't have it because of COVID, you don't just get a 100% refund. You actually get a 110% refund. So you're actually going to get paid interest if we had to cancel the convention, just to let you know how committed we are to doing the event and doing it live and doing it right. So that's it. That's what we got going. We're super, super stoked. And Jason, I know you're going to be there, and you're going to be speaking and doing some cool stuff. And I think you're going to be, the king of pressure wash is going to be all over the place there for everyone to see.
So I've been to it 3 times. I was in it at Nashville twice, and then I was at it at New Orleans. And this isn't an event that is like Bobby said. This isn't something that if you're a brand new, you don't know nothing, you can come and learn, and you'll learn the marketing side of it. But this isn't how to pressure wash. This isn't the how to break it down all the way down to nothing. This is to help you get to the next level. Because honestly, the biggest thing with the huge, it isn't even so much the classes that are there. It is about the networking with guys of 100 or 1,000 to 2,000 people that are in your area. They're not in your area, but is at your stage or has been at your stage. That is what the huge is all about. It's about getting your business to the next level. And, at the end of the day, it might just, maybe you go there and you think you know everything. But if you just learn one little thing that puts you on to the next level, it's worth it at that point. This is something that I did it because it's fun to get around some of the people that you see them online. My big one was Michael Crisley, and there was some other ones back in the day that was pretty loud and vocal, and it was cool to go see them. And he only lived an hour away, but I didn't get to see him until he was way down in Nashville. So these are some things that can definitely help you grow your business. When I went to Huge, I met Josh Latimer was there, and that's how I started Christmas Lights, was all from him. And so there's reasons that in
That's what I
2019 they did $500,000 in Christmas lights, all because I met somebody that was doing street bidder back in the early day when it was first out with street bidder. So that's how that all started.
Yeah. It's funny. Al says, "Can I buy 100 tickets?" Al, it's funny. I actually made the comment earlier today. I said we've got a 110% guarantee. So if you're smart, you'd buy 1,000 tickets and then pray to God that the thing gets canceled, because it's hard to beat a 10% return in 6 months. Yeah, no, I agree wholeheartedly. It's funny. This I have a lot of there's a lot of sentiment for me with this opportunity with the huge because of how impactful it's been on my life. So I'm excited to be a part of something that I can help be as impactful for other people that it's been for me. So really looking forward to
What
working
has
together.
it done for you, Bobby? How has it changed your business when you were in the early stages when you first went?
Well, changing the business specifically. So uh, there's I'll share some intangible stuff first. Okay, so the intangible. I remember it was the 2017 event was the first one we went to in New Orleans, and I almost didn't even go. We started our business at the very end of January. Excuse me. It started at the end of January, and and I bought tickets to the convention probably in March or something, just because they were doing like early bird pricing. So we bought the tickets, and then as the event got closer, my finances were getting real tight because we had a couple of bad months, with the business right before the convention. Uh-oh, can you? My video locked up, but can you hear me still?
Yeah, we can still hear you. You're still going.
Um, so we just kind of bit the bullet, rented the car, drove down there, and said we'll figure out how to make the money work. And the intangible thing was that networking stuff you were talking about. We didn't know anybody in the industry, so when we were there at the convention, like we didn't have someone to go talk to. So I remember, like on the first day at lunchtime, Caleb and I literally found some other kid that looked like he was 19, and we just sat down and ate lunch with him on the floor there next to the showroom. But as the event went on, we started meeting people and having the encouragement and the assurance from these other people that you can get there and share with your struggles, and they'll say, "Oh, yeah, well, we solved that 2 years ago in our business. Let me tell you how we solved it. And you're going to hit these problems, but keep your head down, keep pushing. You're going to be fine." And whenever you talk to 100 people or a dozen people, that had the same experiences, all of a sudden you're like, "Okay, I'm normal. I can do this. We're okay." So that's an intangible portion of it. Is it does put some wind in your sails. Um, from a tangible side, hiring employees. I attended a class that Brandon Vaughn taught called how to hire viciously loyal employees, and he actually talked about like company culture and stuff beyond the initial hire. That one was very helpful and instrumental to this day on how we manage our employees. There was a class we went to on Google reviews. And like I said, on the way home in the car, Caleb had his iPhone out and we plotted out our entire Google review. Yeah, at the time, it was the entire one, our entire Google review system on the car on the way home and implemented it the next day we started working. Caleb went to one on just customer relationships, and how to do a better job with that. And with Caleb being our sales guy now, he knocks it out of the park. So there's been that was actually just the very first convention that we went to, and those things impacted us. And then relationships, the relationships I met at the very first convention. There's that 7 steps to Kevin Bacon game, that you and I, remember when we were kids. Those led directly to me getting in BBB. They led directly to investments that I've got for my business today, and it led directly to the relationships I made that helped us buy the convention in the first place. Now, so the networking and the education is top notch, and
And how many friends did you find there? Because that's something that when we're a business owner, you're kind of on, and especially an entrepreneur. Maybe not so much at first because you don't realize it, but you're kind of out on the land of your own. You are on an island of yourself, and so you being able to go find people that are like you is an amazing thing. And it might have been the ones that you were pissed off at on Facebook
Facebook.
because you got into a pissing match because you went to see whose rig had the bigger GPMs, and
Mhm.
so that is definitely something that makes you want to grow and makes you want to you can see where people are and you can see where people are going and where you can go, and it really does. It shows you that if you put hard work into it and you push it, you can get to whatever you want to be at the end of the day. There's people there from just starting out to people that are making $10 million a year doing pressure washing and fleet washing and different things, So them are definitely some things that you got to look at if you do decide to go. This is in August, so this is your very first year of pressure washing, if you're worried about if you're going to be busy in August, pretty good chance you're probably not going to be. I'm not going to say not everybody, but August is a time that slows down for a lot of people, and that's the
Yeah.
reason why they picked August, because people got money coming out of the summer, and it slows down in August. That's just something that happens, just because it is what it is. People are going back to school. People aren't spending money because they're on vacation, and so if you didn't know that, you need to make sure that you're preparing for August, because July and August can get pretty ugly sometimes if we're not being prepared for it.
Can I answer a question that's popped up probably about 4 times here, Jason? If you don't mind. I've seen how do you get in BBB has come through a few times. So the short answer is right now you probably can't. Okay. But stay tuned. I've got a little project that I'm working on within it, and there may be some opportunity for some new members. So it's good stuff, and stand by.
Yeah. All right. Again, I mean, long we on 51 minutes, 93 people. That's a record right now for now. I
No,
think
we had over 100 the first time I did
I
it.
said that right now for today.
Oh, okay.
Uh, Usually I get, well, what's crazy is I get over 100 every time I go by myself, and anytime I bring people on, I don't get over 100. I don't know what the
Right.
deal is. So,
Well, listen, I had 250 last night, and all you got to do is give away a $7,000 skid to get
yeah,
there. So
yeah,
7K every time you go live, and you'll get all kinds of viewers.
yeah, and that's what people that come on there too is the ones that want stuff for free at that point. So.
Yeah.
All righty. So, with that said, what is some good advice for somebody that's new that you would give somebody?
I'm going to give you phenomenal advice. All right, Caleb, you don't got to say anything. Just come here. You don't got to say anything. I just want you to look them and tell them if I just a yes or a no if I'm lying. Okay, or you just stand there. He's embarrassed. He doesn't want to get on camera. You yell if I'm lying. Okay. All right. Because Caleb was with me when this happened. This was advice that was given to me in a Walmart parking lot in Kissimmee, Florida, just a couple miles over here. We were a few months into the business, and I'd had my opinions, a great deal of success early on. And then I fell into the trap of thinking that I needed to spend all my time working on my business instead of working in my business. Now, most of what I do today is working on my business instead of in it. But you got to have a business before you can do that. But I fell into that trap thinking that's what I needed to do. So I wasn't doing my boots on the ground marketing. I wasn't doing any of that stuff. And I was really starting to struggle. And you already mentioned Josh Latimer on this episode. You said you met him at the huge convention. I had messaged Josh on Facebook. We went back and forth a few times. And I just said to him, I said, man, we're really, really struggling. We just finished a month of whatever month it was. I think it was June. We did $2,800 of revenue, $2,800 of revenue for the month. And there's 2 of us, and I've got a house full of family people at home too. Okay. It was a really, really bad month for me. So I messaged Josh and I'm like, man, I just need some help. He says, what's your phone number? I give it to him. He calls me. We're sitting in this parking lot, and he says, what's going on? I said, well, I'm doing this, doing that, doing this. He says, Bobby, damn it, I need you to listen to me. I said, okay. And he said, I'm going to tell you 3 things to do. And if you do anything other than these 3 things, you're never allowed to talk to me again. I will not take your call. I will not help you. I'm giving you great advice. Do these things. I said, I'm all ears. He said, from now on, you're doing one of these things, and that's it. You're either washing something, driving to the bank to deposit checks, or you're passing out flyers. You're doing one of those three things, and you're not going to do anything else. And am I lying?
Nope, that's what happened.
That's exactly what happened. And we got off the phone with him, and we looked at each other in the it was a Ford Fusion, or not a Fusion, a Flex. We were in the Ford Flex, and we looked at each other, and we said, let's do it. And from that moment on, if we weren't cleaning something, or if we weren't driving to the bank to deposit a check and it was daylight out, we were passing out flyers, and our business changed overnight. We literally the following month, like we did 2,800 that one month. Then the next month we did more. We did, I think, 8,000, and then the following month we did 17K. And I haven't had a month lower than that since. And then the following month we did, I don't remember. And then we did almost $30,000 in November of our first year. And, and it's just been, going up ever since. Here it is. Today's the 4th, and my dashboard, let me just pull it up real quick. We're sitting here on the 4th. We've got, I don't know if you probably can't read it, but we got 21K, behind us here. And, but it's because, listen to what he told us to do. He didn't tell us to spend all of our time tinkering on things in the garage. He didn't tell us to pretend that we're really working and really trying to grow our business by fiddling around on Facebook or learning how to put the perfect copy on our website. He didn't tell us to do that stuff. He said, get in front of people. And you're not allowed to stop getting in front of people unless you're washing the house of one of those people or driving to the bank. So my advice to you is don't do anything except for clean, cash checks, and market.
That's great advice. I got one more question because I know Jason is asking. Other people are trying to figure this out too. But how do you make the decision to hire a tech when you're still trying to figure it out yourself? My thing is you're never going to have it all figured out. That's first thing. You're never going to have it all figured out. So what do you say about this?
Well, yeah, I mean, I could echo that. I would just go a step further and say, you're doing it right now. So, Jason, I don't have it all figured out. I'm 4 years in. We don't do anything special. We don't do specialty stain removal. We don't do shit. I don't even know how to work. Sorry, Jason, I don't mean to cuss on your channel. I don't know how to fix a downstream injector. I just got to throw it away and put a new one on there. Okay. We don't know any of this stuff. We know enough to be safe for the customers and to get stuff clean. So what I would say is you're ready usually before you're ready. You're usually ready before you think you're ready. And what will happen is if you hire someone, especially a technician, well, I guess anyone, but if you hire someone, it's going to light a fire under your butt, and you're going to bust your ass to make sure now that you're not just feeding your family, but you're feeding their family too. So I'm going to say cautiously here that I say cautiously because you've got to make the right decision for you, but do it. If you hire that guy, you can train him. You don't have to have all your systems in place yet. Your training system won't be in place before you hire someone. So when you hire them, build your first training system as you're training the new guy.
And if you want to, you can go to pressurewashhelp.com/free, get 30 days. And I've set up your training system. I've made things step by step. And I'm getting ready to make it even better that you can set an employee down and go through everything, the check sheets, the things that you need to do to make sure it happens. And so what happens is I've been thinking about it because Jonathan was where I'm going to be going up there to talking to Jonathan, wants to make sure all this stuff is up, is when you have check sheets listed and you have that ready to go and you do it yourself, don't just think that when you bring somebody on that they're just going to do it, because that's not going to happen. If you don't hold them accountable because you're not accountable, then nobody's going to be accountable and it's not going to get done. And the reason why I do all my check sheets and the way I do things is because I've screwed up things. I've been there. I've effed it up. I know what it does when you let the tip goes out flying. I've seen people about shoot themselves in the eye with the gun because they didn't hold it right. And, there's reasons why I do the things that I do, and I teach the things that I do. I've been there, done it. And even though that I preach it and I show it and I do it and show you how to do it, it is one of those things that you got to do. So you can go check out pressurewashhelp.com/free, get 30 days free. It is definitely, I'm getting ready to break it down to where I'll have an employee manual. I'll have the part for the business, and then I have the part for the marketing. But the employee manual, you'll be able to set an employee down and go over things of making sure that your truck's clean. That is huge. There's nothing that drives me more worse nutty than a nasty cluttered up truck that is full. You open the doors and bottles are falling out and stuff because customers see that we're a cleaning business and we can't even keep our own stuff clean. This is stuff that goes a long way. you know does that make us more money by having it cleaned out? No. But when we pull up and the crap's falling out, it doesn't look very good. I'm going to tell you that much. So people do what you inspect, not what you expect. Exactly. So these
Well,
are
and
some things that I want to put out, and I'm going to, like I said, I'm going to break it down. I'm going to break it down all the way, going through ladder training, go through all the stuff that you need to make sure that your employee can do. And I'm wanting him to do a check sheet off of, hey, he did that correctly. He did this correctly. Maybe even do a small test so that way you can say this here. Because at the end of the day, it's about documentation. Documenting this stuff can save your tail if your employee does something stupid and falls off and gets hurt, and you have documentation saying, hey, he went through ladder training. He went through tying off, all of that kind of stuff. Go ahead.
Jason, can I comment on something? And I'm sorry, I've got to do this. I've got to call someone out. I'm doing it with love, so it's not a harsh call out. But guys, Dark Horse is giving very bad, illegal advice about hiring people as independent contractors. A Dark Horse, I don't know who you are, and I don't think you're being malicious or mean, and I'm not being mean to you, but let me spend a second on that. If you are hiring someone, quote unquote, if you're just using that verbiage and they're a contractor, I can guarantee you you're not doing it legally. And the second the IRS finds out about it, you're going to get your ass nailed to the wall. The second you have an employee that's frustrated, if whether you make them mad and they quit or you fire them and they feel that they were unjustly fired, and they try to go get unemployment, and all of a sudden there's no unemployment available because they were a contractor, and they say, well, time out. That's where I worked. You're going to get busted. Do not, quote unquote, hire people as subcontractors unless you can meet, I think it's 119, if I remember correctly, requirements by the IRS for someone to be a sub. So let me throw a couple of things out that will eliminate the ability for you to hire, quote unquote, hire someone as a sub. Okay. If you require them to work particular hours, that you can't pay them as a 1099. If you require them to show up Monday through Friday, you can't pay them as a 1099 sub. If you require them to wear your uniform, you can't pay them as a sub. If they use your equipment, your truck, your pressure washer, stuff like that, you can't pay them as a sub. So if you do one of those things, you're already eliminated and disqualified from it. And I'm not saying this out of anger. It's just I saw the comment earlier and I was going to mention it, and then I saw it come through again. So, do your thing. It's your business. You can do what you want, but you are doing it illegal. And if you get caught, because you might not, but if you do, the IRS, they are not merciful. They will not show you mercy.
And even going down to not even just the IRS, it is about, if that employee gets hurt and he don't have workers comp on his own self, which he probably don't if he's paying that way because you're only paying him $10, $12 an hour, so he don't have workers comp. He can sue you. He can sue the homeowner, and it's not covered in a lot of the states. And it will go against the actual homeowner, not their homeowner's insurance. And so that is why it is important that we have workers' comp on these people. And yes, it costs money. And yes, it costs money to do things right. And it does that. But yes, this is definitely something that you got to do. This isn't something that is one of those things of, well, I'll do that later. It's very important. We start hiring people, it can get very sticky. And I know that there's a way that we can hire people and only have like in certain states that you only have two or three people and you don't need workers' comp. But workers' comp can bite you in the tail if you don't have it. So, you
Just
know,
because you don't have to have it legally doesn't mean that you're exempt of the risk of not having it.
we do a lot of dangerous and stupid stuff in this business. We're dealing with chemicals, we're dealing with high pressure, we're dealing with ladders, we're dealing with heights, we're dealing with a lot of things that can anything one of those things go wrong, it's going to be out of your pocket in not good way.
So DFD Zig, I just recorded an episode earlier today. I'll be releasing it tomorrow. I do
And
it tonight.
mine is way better. It's every Tuesday. It comes out every Tuesday. Actually, if you've watched my lives, you get to hear it, but you might get something out of it. So if you haven't subscribed to my podcast, go check it out. It's kingofpressurewash.com/podcast. And where can they find your podcast at, Bobby?
Thank you, Jason. You can go to nobitchzone.com and check out my podcast. And Jason, the answer is yes, I would do it over again. But nobitchzone.com, you can find everything I do on there.
And that is definitely something we talked about, the phone scripts. Where can they find that at?
That's in the course. That's nobitchzone.com. You can go check it out on there too.
Awesome. Awesome. All right, guys. Well, thank you for having us on. Definitely go check out the huge convention, see Bobby, and we'll all be there.